Let's break this bitch down. Act 1. Let's set some stuff up.
Our totally awesome 80s movie starts with a super shaky helicopter shot panning from downtown Los Angeles over the Hollywood sign to San Fernando Valley, the porn production capital of the world.
I was hoping you were going to call that out.
Yeah, it's I was looking for statistics, but it is one of the I feel like at one point it was 2/3 of all porn made on Earth was made in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
But I think it's since fallen since the rise of the porn hubs and tube streaming sites and stuff of the world. But yeah, at one point they tried to shut it down, and a lot of the studios moved to Las Vegas, but then they changed the laws and everybody moved right back to San Fernando. There's a lot of the houses that are in San Fernando Valley are just, owned by porn studios to go and shoot in. So, fun fact, if you didn't know. I think about that every time I go into San Fernando Valley. I'm like, I wonder what's happening in that house. What's happening in that house?
It looks really familiar.
I recognize this backdrop.
I know that blacked out van.
Yeah. Over the shot, we hear the song Girls Like Me, which is a song so nice they used it twice and became an 80s classic after being included in the soundtrack for this movie. Coincidentally, this is still my favorite song to dance to in my panties. So. I think it's funny that they used it twice through there.
Yeah, I know.
There was a couple, I'll Stop the World was used twice as well.
Yeah.
Got to reuse those things on a $350,000 budget. We meet our titular Valley girl, Julie, totally browsing the best 80s fashions in the mall with her friends during the height of mall culture in America. This was when things were raging back then. Mm-hmm. Back when malls were really fun. Were totally fun to be in. Malls used to be an amazing place to hang out with your friends, but now are filled with empty shops, old people getting their steps in to avoid the heat outside, and spirit Halloween stores. It's about all that's in there now.
Abandoned anchor stores.
There's a DMV in the mall down the street from us now.
Yeah.
And there's a college in one, up the street.
Yeah, a lot of them. I watch lots of dead mall videos. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, they're converting it into that type of stuff because...
It's good use, yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's awesome. art schools are taking over some of them and stuff because they have the footprint for it. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in those, and you can utilize all the different shops as classrooms. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Julie and her friends totally gag on food and junk at the food court, I'm sure, but are distracted by a stud muffin showing off the goods while waiting for a hot dog on a stick. One of the girls mentions that she invited this beefcake to her party she's having that night, and Julie admits she'd be fine scarfing down his hot dog on a stick. But one of the girls tells Julie to save some for the rest of us, since she already has a totally bitchin' hunk named Tommy. Trying to decipher Valley Girls speak is almost as hard as trying to figure out what the droogs were talking about in A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. First seeing this movie, I checked the timestamp to see how much was left of this movie.
It was 3 minutes in.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, because the credits ate up 3 minutes. So
yeah.
4 minutes into the film.
The end credits on this thing were 5 minutes long because the scroll was
I know.
Yeah, Jesus. We don't have to sound out every letter. Julie says she's not that into Tommy anymore since he treats her like a piece of furniture, which is totally bad news. On the escalator, they run into Tommy and his buddies, who seem somehow dumber than these girls and look like they just fell out of an 80s version of an Abercrombie and Fitch ad.
The
collars.
Glass, and they had the little glasses string to hold their sunglasses on their head or on their neck.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
height of 80s fashion.
Yeah. Julie says, "It's like I'm totally not in love with you anymore," and gives him a bracelet he must have given her at some point. Gives him back a bracelet. He takes it pretty well, though, because he responds with, "Not too cool, Julie. Like, I won't be bummed out." Which, if I can translate here, guys, "You have devastated me greatly, my dearest Julie. I will mourn the relationship you and I shared till my dying breath."
Oh, man.
This really is the kind of movie Shakespeare would write if he was alive in 1980.
By the way, fun fact. The guy who plays Tommy eventually went on to play the head of the neo-Nazis that Walter White had to battle at the end of Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah, same
I
guy.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, I was like, how do I recognize this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I'd seen
Walter
him
White's
something.
arch nemesis.
He lived a rough life, that Tommy.
Yeah. Things went
Yeah, downhill after.
off a hill after this, man.
My life is totally not bitching anymore, Julie.
My life is like Zeke Heil now.
Yeah, the girl dumps you, you get stood up at prom and embarrassed in front of everybody. You know who welcomes you in with open arms? The Aryan Brotherhood.
You know, and to be fair, he was into the blue-eyed, blonde-haired chick. I see a pattern.
The most important detail of this scene, though, is that Julie is wearing a Woody Woodpecker pin on her
Yes.
shirt,
Yes.
meaning she was always destined for the man she'd eventually fall in love with. And on cue, Woody Woodpecker himself arrives. Nicolas Cage distracts Julie at the beach with his well-coiffed, weirdly shaved into a V chest hair. What was that? It was so obviously shaved.
Yes.
It was weird. And thanks to his buddy Fred creepily overhearing where Julie and her friend's party is going to be that night, they decide to just invite themselves on over. It's the first sign that these guys are kind of creepy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of little serial killer moments from here on out throughout the movie between Fred and Randy.
Yeah.
Back at Julie's house. Oh, go ahead.
Let's say that it's irresistible to Julie for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get
Got
into
no
it.
self-preservation instincts, I
Best
guess.
serial killers are the most charming.
Okay, well then he's a terrible serial killer.
Back at Julie's, her and her friend talk about how some girl said cum tastes like Clorox.
Well, she probably never caught COVID. So it's a layered reference.
Very weird.
Yeah. Just like the cum, it's layered. You know? And how awkward it'll be that Julie's now ex-boyfriend is going to be at the party. Julie says she's going to pick up Brad, the guy who was sticking out his ass at the hot dog on a stick shop, and says, "I'm so sure, God, Brad's totally hot." God, thank God this went away.
This is like the movie version of that game Dream Date or whatever, the old board game. Dream Phone. That's it. I don't know if you ever saw the commercials for that.
No.
It's like it's like a girls board game that was big in the 90s, but it was like you pick up a little pink phone and you have to guess who your dream date is going to be, and it's all these totally stud muffin hunks like
Totally
Brad and
hunks,
Tommy and
It's the guy from the hot dog on a stick shop.
yeah.
I
He
always
likes wearing
wanted
his
Peter.
sunglasses on a string around his neck.
So hot. Next, we meet Julie's hippie, weird as hell parents. Or just like the weirdest fucking characters. Her mom,
I liked them a lot. They were awesome.
her mom is an absolutely horrible actress and looks to be like 5 years older than Julie. While her dad is that chef who got his head chopped off in Apocalypse Now.
Oh, I thought it was Uncle
Spoilers
Leo.
from Apocalypse Now. Yeah, he's the guy who screams, "Never get off the boat! Never get off the boat!" when they're shooting at the tiger. If you remember Apocalypse Now, one of my favorite movies of all time.
So long.
Yeah.
Dad immediately says he'd bang Julie's friend if he was 20 years younger. And on their way out, he remarks how much Julie looks like his wife did at that same age. By the way, I looked it up, and the actress who plays Julie's mom is 9 years older than Julie.
Okay. That's more than I thought. I thought they were literally the same age.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to make a joke about it or something.
Yeah.
They try to
Maybe they were. Maybe that's what they were going for.
It's sort of like Susie and her stepmom, except it's her stepmom, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They could be the same age.
Wait, was that her stepmom or was that her actual mom?
That was her stepmom. There's one line where she mentions
the Susie
that she's Susie's stepmom. Yeah, Susie's stepmom, and that her dad died. So now she's her mom.
Say like she's on a date or something? Like she went out on a date?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy who's there at the party with her is like her date, but Susie, I don't know.
Her dad.
Susie calls her, Susie calls her mom, but she's her stepmom, and that apparently both of Susie's parents are dead, is what I got out of it.
Yeah,
so
her dad died. She says, like, Rick died, like, ever since Rick died, she's been very competitive with me.
Oh, okay, that's what she said. I couldn't fucking understand what she was saying in there. Mainly because I was watching them put, like, peanut butter on sushi, I think it was.
Yeah, and then she just...
Anyway,
she was dating that schlub guy who was there.
Oh, okay. So she's she's her legal guardian.
Yuppie guy.
Yeah.
Over at the party, Julie hits on Brad, who's wearing the dorkiest windbreaker imaginable and seems way more into his buddy than Julie, even though she gave him the code word, "Have you tried the sushi yet?" But I guess he didn't get the hint.
He's like,
laying
no, I'm more of
thick.
a hot dog and a stick type of guy.
It's like when Susie's stepmom is like, "Plastics."
Yeah. Got that whole scene.
Yeah. Tommy tells her that anytime that Julie wants to come back to him, he'll think about it. And then some girl's stepmom tries to seduce a teenager named Skip, which is the creepiest B plot in this entire movie.
No, it's funny.
Or kinkiest.
Yeah. I feel like this was a trope that was in a lot of these 80s movies. Of, like,
yes. I
want
think
to
that's why
sleep
they
with
parodied it in American Pie with Stephanie's mom.
Yeah.
Because it's like a throwback to all those 80 B plots.
I feel like there's more than a little influence from The Graduate in this movie, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially the very ending, the ending shot.
There's actually a lot of direct correlation with The Graduate that I saw when I was researching. There's like 3 different lines that are lifted directly from The Graduate in the Skip and Susie's stepmom interactions. So, yeah, that was definitely intentional. I think the plastics was, directly from it.
That makes sense because that seems so fucking out of.
Oh, see, I didn't get that reference because I haven't seen The Graduate. So maybe that's why Skip didn't get it either because he hasn't seen The Graduate.
He's like, what?
Hold on, what?
Plastics? No, food.
No, I brought paper. Paper bags. Tommy heads upstairs to hit the crapper, but runs into Julie's friend Lauren, a.k.a. Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the voice of Buttercup from the is it Powder Puff or Powerpuff?
Powerpuff.
Yeah, Powerpuff, right? I wrote Powder Puff in here. The voice of Buttercup from the Powderpuff Girls and Tommy the voice of Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls and Tommy Pickles from Rugrats.
That's a hard sentence.
A crazy career trajectory that she took after that.
Yeah.
She was also Phoebe's friend on Friends that came and ripped off Smelly Cat and sold it to the litter company.
Oh, nice. There's a ton of actors and Friends that show up.
Oh, God, yeah.
Parts. Also, Mark Mothersbaugh did the music for Rugrats, so there's a Devo poster in Susie's room. Whose room was it? No, somebody's. No, not Skip's room. One of the girls' room when they're all hanging out. There's
it would have probably been Susie then, like in the sleepover scene.
Yeah.
Susie's.
Yeah, it's the bed that has like the cabana umbrella hanging over it for some reason.
I'm not surprised that Mark Mothersbaugh did the music because Mark Mothersbaugh has done the music for everything for the last 30 years. It seems like you look at his credits at this point. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I love Devo, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to see that reference in there.
Yeah.
Tommy kind of, sort of rapes her a little bit, but never mind that. Nicolas Cage has arrived. He and his goofy buddy show up looking more out of place than Pee-wee at a biker bar. Sorry, my mind is still on Dottie getting raped by a Nazi upstairs.
They show up. They show up looking like two guys from the Warriors
or the Lost Boys.
Party. Yeah.
I kept thinking Lost Boys.
Nick, or should I say Randy, and his buddy, like, totally don't know what sushi is, don't you know? And are, like, so grossed out.
I think that's my favorite moment in the movie. One of them. It's like Randy. It's like, what is this, pistachio paste? And then eats it, and it's obviously wasabi. He just eats the whole thing, and then he's just like, oh.
Yeah. They contemplate bailing, but suddenly Randy locks eyes with Julie. She asks him, "What the hell are you doing here?" Like Evan Lake giving a pep talk to some new recruits. Wait, sorry, that's a reference to a movie no one has ever seen, nor should ever see. And judging by the numbers, nobody's even watching our episode about it either.
Our social clips are doing well for these two movies.
I don't really blame people.
Yeah. Dying of the Light. No, thank you.
What?
Dark.
No.
They reviewed that video game?
Upstairs, Lauren asks Tommy if it means that they're going steady together if he puts his Pee-wee in her.
In her playhouse.
And he makes her feel bad for being with him when she knows that he's still in love with Julie, even though he told her that they broke up. Dude's a real bastard. I mean, first Dottie, then Jesse Pinkman. Just plain evil. You think he raped Jesse? No.
Nah.
They all took turns on him in that
cage.
I think
maybe we go family style on her.
Fat Damon, what's his name in the game? I think he
Todd.
He probably had some hands on Jesse. A couple moments there.
You want some gum?
He was definitely Buffalo Bill in that shit.
Tastes like Clorox.
Tastes like Clorox.
He spots Julie chatting with Randy downstairs, so he taps Randy on the shoulder and tells him to get out of there. And after Randy says, "Make me," Tommy punches him in the face, and Tommy's buds throw Randy and Fred out of the party. Rather than just leave like a normal person, Randy decides to sneak back into the house through the bathroom window and hides out in the shower while listening to multiple strangers pee. You know, like a creep.
Yeah, that was creepy.
And somehow isn't seen by anyone.
I know, even though he's
in the frosted glass shower.
Looking in the window,
he's like 6'5", looking over the top of the thing, and you can see him through the glass.
Yeah. He sees some girls' titties, some girls talking about giving hand jobs, teens smoking joint, and then finally, Julie. She's not at all terrified to find the guy who she talked to for like 10 minutes at the party hiding in the bathroom with her, but is instead thrilled to see him, and she agrees to go for a ride with him and his dopey red-haired friend. People wonder how the Green River Killer managed to get away with 90 murders in the 80s. He's admitted to 90. They've only actually found 40-something.
Oh, yeah, there's probably way more. A lot of dead hookers.
The creep she's known for 10 minutes, who was hiding in the bathroom for an hour listening to her friends use the toilet, then kisses her without consent and climbs out the window again, which makes her smirk with delight. I don't know, guys.
It's the 80s. It's a different time, dude. You didn't have to consent to things.
This Randy guy seems like somebody who would not take no for an answer for 30 straight minutes.
Just felt like a Brett Kavanaugh autobiography when I was watching this whole party scene.
I like beer, damn it. She drags her super reluctant friend Stacy along, who is like charmed, I'm sure, to meet Fred. They
She's
drive
really smart one.
Yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here. What are you doing?
We're gonna end up missing our heads.
Yeah,
thrown in a bush out here. Isn't this where the Zodiac killer killed people?
No, that was up north.
that was San Francisco.
Okay.
But Richard Ramirez was on the loose.
Oh yeah, the Night Stalker.
He looked a lot like Nick
cousin.
Cage.
Mexican Nick Cage.
They drive these poor girls from the valley to Skid Row while Nick Cage laughs like a lunatic and yells, "No way, Bob!" at someone getting pulled over.
No way, Bob!
Which is really weird. No way, Bob. He does that a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Seems to recognize every other person on the road for some reason, and then spots like 400 zombies just walking down the street who dance awkwardly at their car.
They're ghosts. Ghosts, I tell you. Oh,
Thriller starts.
they're shooting a Thriller video.
That's what's going on. This prompts him to say, and I quote, "Hey, Rico, what? You didn't? No way, man. You didn't do that. I'll talk to you later." Ha! Ha! No other side of that conversation whatsoever. Just
Can't believe Rico did that, man.
Enrico, man. That was really strange.
Yeah.
Helped out with the cagey moments, though.
Oh, yeah. That whole, 20-minute scene of them driving.
Yeah.
Really helped explain why Julie's into this guy.
Yeah. You can see why she's fallen in love with him.
Stalker, he's completely erratic. He seems schizophrenic.
He's talking to
Loves Skid Row.
random people on the road who all look like junkies. Then he sees another punk-looking guy and says,
Sid! Let's do it! Hey, Tyrone, baby, check out the
all of this insanity seems to be making Julie just fall madly in love with him for some fucking reason. It's like this new crazy world. Wow, it's so different from the valley.
It's a whole new world.
It's insanity. Fred and Randy take these poor girls to a club where all the girls outside of the club seem to want to bang Randy for some reason. But he only has eyes for Julie from the valley, I guess.
Do you have a quick fact about this club?
Yep. Quick fact, the club scenes where Randy takes Julie were filmed at a Sunset strip club originally named Filthy McNasties in the 60s and 70s. In the 80s, it was called The Central, which was later purchased by Johnny Depp and is now known as the Viper Room, which is a super famous place because it's where River Phoenix died right up front on Halloween in 1993.
Yeah. I didn't know Johnny owned it.
Yeah, Johnny Depp still owns it to this day.
Oh, wow.
I think, I feel like Keanu Reeves had some stake in that too, but I might be wrong on that.
Interesting.
Because they both own a bunch of stuff in LA. Just thinking of that, but yeah.
Great place to bring a chick on a first date.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to take you where River Phoenix is eventually going to die.
10 years. 10 years from now.
She's like, who's River Phoenix?
He's that kid from Stand By Me. Inside, Randy seems to know every single person there somehow, and we see a room full of punks rocking out to the most new wave band imaginable. There's no punk music in this movie whatsoever. It's all new wave that they're like dancing to, but maybe they didn't know the difference, or maybe that's the only band they could get.
Randy even talks shit about her music.
Yeah. It's like, I love this song, and he's playing like the most new wave music ever.
Yeah, I couldn't help but see Jonathan from Stranger Things every time I saw the lead singer of that band. It fucking looks like that kid. Same haircut, same goofy face.
Yeah. Nick Cage yells random shit at everybody as he walks by and makes weird noises the whole way to the booth, where Stacy is disgusted, but Julie is intrigued by this bizarre new world she's found herself in. In the next scene, we see Randy introduce Julie to heroin. Oh, wait, no, that didn't happen, but that's probably how this would have gone down in real life.
I do think I saw Roxy in the background, though. Crack Roxy.
Crack Roxy. Getting high. He asks her if they have places like this in the valley, and she says no. We go to normal places and buy nice new clothes instead of shopping at Goodwill like Fred and Randy.
Places that don't frisk you just to walk in.
Yeah. Which, like, I think, I don't know if we ever answer it, but, like, is this like an all-age club or...
I don't think it is.
No,
because
I
when
don't
he
think
goes
so.
back later and he's shit-faced, that dude is very adamant to get him inside because A, he's a minor, B, he's intoxicated.
So is it just real lax
Hollywood
on
in the
the
80s, so...
letting
Yeah,
minors in type of thing?
That's what I got.
It's
out
just,
of it.
I mean, it's now the Viper room. It doesn't really, you know.
I'm guessing
Or,
the
you know, we
Viper
never- we
room
never
has higher
actually-
standards now.
Yeah. We never actually see...
like those seedy places.
We never actually learn how old Randy actually is. He could be like 25.
Well,
He says he
'cause I
goes
thought
to
they-
Hollywood High.
Yeah, Hollywood High.
Well, he says he does, but we never actually see
Touche.
him do
He
anything.
also likes to
Actually
hang out in
Doc Julie.
bathrooms.
Yeah.
So
Maybe he went to Hollywood High. I mean, he could be 25 and still going to Hollywood High.
That's true.
it's very true, dude. It's totally a bitch in here. Why would I ever want to leave, man?
Randy
Great place to
says,
pick up chicks.
we do see people drinking outside, like younger people drinking outside, but inside they're all drinking like sodas and stuff. But then we see like a girl pour like a gin and tonic on some guy's head, or he pours it on his own head. I don't know. I hate that whole like we're just trying to make these characters
remember.
quirky bullshit that was going on in that scene.
Yeah. Who knows?
And then Randy whooping and yelling random shit at everybody.
Hey man, you didn't give me that pizza. What? Hey, Jordan, what's your salami like?
Randy says they're just being themselves and that people from the valley are all fucking programmed, man, which seems to make her really swoon.
They don't have values, man.
He asks when he can see her again, and she says she feels connected to him somehow, even though she can't explain it. They stare deep into each other's eyes and then make out. I guess it was she felt connected to him because he'd been watching her in the bathroom all that time.
They share the same kink.
Got a thing for gangly guys with weak chins.
And vampire teeth.
He did get his teeth fixed right after this movie. This was the only other thing besides Fast Times and The Best of Times. He did a lot of Times work back in good old days. Valley Girl was the only thing that he did where his teeth were his actual normal teeth before he got them fixed and got caps and all that kind of stuff.
Act 2. The Conflict.
Back at Julie's house, her dad is up worried sick about her since he's positive she's out with some creep like Nicolas Cage or something. Meanwhile, Fred is chasing Stacy around the car, calling her his little pickle, while Randy and Julie make out.
My little pickle.
Out secluded drive somewhere, middle of nowhere.
Make out
at night.
Make
in the
out
dark.
rich.
She never seems interested in him whatsoever, but he still ends up kissing her.
Yeah.
I thought she did for a second there.
She was kind of like,
Yeah, she was playing
fine
around and
into
play
it a little
fighting.
bit.
Yeah.
But then it goes away right away.
yeah. And then she sees him later at the prom, and she's again not interested at all. So it's not like she fell in love with him over that time.
It's like Pepe Le Pew. You
It's
just
the
keep
80s,
chasing.
dude. You just keep pressing and you'll eventually get it.
Yeah.
What did Sean Connery say? 50 no's and 1 yes is still a yes.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know if he actually said that, if that's just Family Guy. Those lines are blurred. Allegedly.
Yeah.
She tells him that her friends will like freak, if they find out she's dating that guy from Willy's Wonderland, but he insists that they see each other tomorrow. She says she can't because she has to work at her parents' health food store, which she thinks is like totally not cool, but he thinks is actually like cool. What a very Valley thing to own a natural food store.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't imagine like them, making the type of money it seems like Julie has from this health food store.
Right. Like maybe this is a repeat. Like maybe Julie's mom came from money and she fell in love with some hippie wild child in the 60s.
Could be, because she is way more put together than the dad. Yeah. But that being said, those natural food stores make fucking money hand over fist.
Now they do.
I think even back then in L.A., I'm sure back then in L.A. I mean,
I could see it. Yeah, the 80s was a big time for these types of things in L.A. Yeah, it was like kind of the fad started there. And branched out everywhere else.
Yeah, I could see them making some pretty good money. But their idea of like natural food back then was just a ham and cheese sandwich.
With some sprouts, alfalfa sprouts on it.
Yeah.
You could tell for a split second he's really rethinking being with this girl when she says, why couldn't they own a Pizza Hut or something? But it gets right back to tonsil hockey with her. Letting the man downstairs do the thinking here, eh, Nick? He takes her home and is daylight out. She's a little worried her parents will freak since she's never stayed out all night with a punk in one of the most dangerous parts of LA before. They do freak out a little, but say as long as she didn't get hurt or hurt anyone else, they're cool with it. No wonder the San Fernando Valley is the porn capital of the world. The parents just let their kids do whatever. I also love like when she gets home, her mom's like doing this fucking weird ass yoga
shit.
Yeah,
it's just a shot of her crotch,
just wide open,
open.
Her mom is she's been in a lot of stuff, even though she's terrible in this movie. But she was actually Miss May on Apocalypse Now. I know you guys haven't seen Apocalypse Now recently, but she was crazy hot in that and seemed much more natural because she was doing, stripping and stuff rather than trying to talk.
Yeah,
that's funny.
She got that Coppola connection.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of actual characters that have crossed over to other Coppola productions from this movie, which is kind of interesting. Which makes me wonder, I don't know what the actual connection is, if Coppola was involved in any kind of production standpoint with this movie or... But, his Nick Cage's first couple of roles were in Coppola Productions, so...
Where they're all friends, like the producers.
Exactly, I can see that friends. Too. Give my nephew a job.
Recommend each other. Yeah, give my nephew a job. Make him an offer he can't refuse.
All right. This is totally off topic, but like Jason Schwartzman said he's only met Nick Cage like twice, and they're cousins. It was only like family, barbecues and stuff. That's kind of crazy that you could be cousins with Nicolas Cage and be an actor. Yeah, and like never spend any time with him.
I can kind of see that though.
There was a chick I went to high school with whose cousin was like a cousin or an uncle or something. I think one of her cousins, whatever, was related to Christopher Lloyd, like through some weird ass family tree thing. I think he was like a third cousin or something like that. So she talked about she went to some wedding one year and Christopher Lloyd was there because she's apparently related to him, but she'd never met him before because it's like, everybody's related to somebody at some point. It was just super, super random.
It would be so crazy just walking. Is that Doc from Back to the Future?
We gotta go back. Doc, we gotta go back. Yeah, I don't know. I can see that though. Nick doesn't really seem like the type of one to frequent family get-togethers. Seems kind of be a little bit of a loner.
He seems like he doesn't quite embrace the Coppola family as much as some of the other Coppolas do. I think Moonstruck is kind of how those families actually function, and I think Cage has kind of been the guy who just kind of split away from that. Maybe he's like he's like Ronnie. Yeah, because he left the home country and never even comes to see his mom while she's dying.
Okay, back to
he is naming his daughter after his dad, August.
Yeah. But yeah, it is. Well, we could do a whole episode diving into their family.
Yeah.
All right, so next we see Julie and her friends taking a driving test. Julie's friend Susie says Skip asked for her number despite or possibly because her stepmom flirted with him all night at the party. Julie tells her friends about Randy, who she thinks is like trippin'.
Dicular.
You know? Which, what a fucking awful thing that I'm glad doesn't exist. That fucking slang doesn't exist anymore. So allow me to translate here. Man. She's like, she likes Randy and thinks he's a very nice boy with whom she could have a fantastic time with. Fucking 80s, dude. All that coke, man. All that coke in the 80s. Her friends are already judgmental since Randy isn't from the Valley, doesn't dress like he owns a timeshare in Aspen, and doesn't talk like a space cadet. Also, I guess she drives so badly while telling her friends about Randy that the instructor throws himself out of a moving car in fear of his life.
I love that.
I did like that. You just hear the door opening. He's just gone.
Next shot. Great.
Where'd he go? Like, where's the instructor, dude?
Ladies, enough. No more talking.
Fuck this.
You can't go this way. You can't go this way. Then he just bails. We cut back to the creepiest B plot of the film, where we see Susie's stepmom day trading by the pool. She hears Skip from the party at the gate, letting her know her grocery delivery has arrived. Very Gilbert Grapes here. This reminds me a lot of that scene in Gilbert Grapes, or What's Eating Gilbert Grapes, when Johnny Depp shows up with the groceries and bangs that lady. I can't remember what the actress's name is, but she's been in a ton of shit. I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
I have not seen it.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Yeah, he like shows up and is banging this MILF. Anyways, tune into my side podcast where I break down Eating Gilbert Grapes.
Off the Depp end. It's all about Johnny Depp.
That's brilliant. That's copyrighted. One Cage Pod.
You have to say every movie name wrong, too. Today we'll be talking about Gilbert Grapes.
Gilbert Scrapes.
Gilbert Scrapes.
I really thought this movie was going to be about
and
man farming grapes.
You could describe a scene that's not actually in that movie, too. I don't know if that scene's in that movie.
That scene is in it. He's having a relationship with the mom from Step Brothers. Anyways.
I don't remember that at all.
Okay. Look it up. Anyways,
it's got William Robbins in it.
It's got
And then William Dafoe shows up.
William Dafoe
steals the show.
She hears Skip from the party at the gate, letting her know her grocery delivery has arrived. She says she's disappointed in him since he didn't try to bang his girlfriend's stepmom at the party, which she and her husband were hosting the night before.
I guess it was a boyfriend, or I don't know who that guy was.
Yeah.
A guy who just like holds the sushi up for like a full minute waiting for her to take it.
I love that scene too. She's totally not paying attention. She's like, well, fuck me then, huh?
All right, well, maybe we should break up. You seem more into Skip.
He admits that he took the delivery order on purpose so he could see her again. And confusingly, he decides rather than give his girlfriend a new little brother, he decides to leave this whole awkward scene behind despite Mrs. Brent laying on the "please fuck me right now, you idiot" with all her might before she also backs out of the seduction by saying, "Susie will be home soon." Oh, how convenient.
It's a weirdly confusing scene.
Yeah. I just want to say I've seen porn with better writing than what took place in this whole scene. Mm-hmm. In fact, the last time I saw bad writing like this was in an actual porno, Taboo 2.
Filmed in the same house.
Yeah.
It was actually, I'm pretty sure, filmed in the same house.
You're fucking your son?
The acting and the writing, almost identical in both films. Over at Julie's family's health food store, Randy pops in for a visit, much to Julie's embarrassment. Her dad greets this dopey-looking teenager with his shirt half unbuttoned, wearing a belt buckle the size of chastity belt with a high five, and gets back to serving wheatgrass or whatever the fuck it is they sell at this place. Julie's parents are either the coolest mom and dad of all time or leading their daughter straight to the gutter. Such a weird scene. I like how that dude at the counter just keeps moving too. Every time he moves, somebody comes up next to him.
Yeah.
Starts talking. He just keeps scooting up and down the fucking counter. And then he's like, maybe I should talk
Somebody
to her.
talking over my food.
Yeah. Don't talk over my sprout sandwich.
I'm really edgy about that now. COVID times. So like anybody's anywhere near my food talking, I like move the food or my water. I don't want any of that shit. No spit particles flying into my food.
Patrick, would you like a piece of the birthday cake? I'm good.
Good.
Okay. I brought my
Blowing
own,
on the
actually.
birthday cake should
my
no
own.
longer be a thing.
Randy asks if she got in trouble staying out with him, and she says they're fine with her making terrible decisions as long as she doesn't get hurt. It's a good life lesson right there. Good parenting. She bails on work because her parents let her do whatever the hell she wants, and they head off to film a montage set to I'll Stop the World and Melt With You by Modern English.
So you said that this was added later on?
No, the scene when he climbs into the bathroom window, they play in Men at Work. Who Can It Be Now?
Okay.
Apparently that was added in like, I don't know, some home release or some later release of the movie for some reason. Just a fact I saw when I was looking at other stuff about the movie. It didn't say why.
Interesting.
I'm assuming licensing issues or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Or, they wanted to get a bigger song into the
Yeah.
movie.
Maybe
Maybe
once
they were
they
just
could.
trying to bank on soundtrack sales. Yeah, once they
Could be,
made
yeah.
their 17 million, they were like, let's
Yeah.
buy a couple songs for this.
Yep.
Yeah. I also wondered, like,
But let's not reshoot the poster.
when was this released? Yeah. When was it released on VHS? By that,
Yeah.
and did they even know that that the VHS was gonna be a thing, and so maybe they didn't secure the rights to
Yeah.
That could be
Selling it like
on
that, I
home
don't
video
know.
rights. Didn't
Yeah.
Back
exist.
in those days, it took like a full year for the home video to come out. It took a really
Yeah.
long time. Nowadays, it's like Massive Talent was out in April, and I bought the Blu-ray in like June.
Yeah.
So
And it was on digital. Well, it was on digital at the same time, but what movie was it that they
Pig
They
came out
released-
on digital in like
and it
3
was like
weeks after it came out.
yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Things have changed.
Yeah, it changed a lot. Next, we see Julie and Randy sharing a Coke at a non-bean sprout selling restaurant. Then on various stage, which seemed to be filled mostly with shots of mannequins and Nick Cage kissing her randomly. Then we see them on the phone.
Marquees.
Oh, sorry,
not
marquees.
Mannequins. Where the fuck do you get mannequins from that?
Dude, I'm still haunted by Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Shots of mannequins.
Mannequins. Oh. Fucking
They end up in the
Ghostland.
movie Mannequin. They're the montage.
Let's start. Take it from the top. We then next see Julie and Randy sharing a Coke at a non-bean sprout selling restaurant. Then on various stage, which seem to be filled mostly with shots of Marquise and Nicolas Cage kissing her randomly. Then we see them on the phone at the beach. You get the drift. This sequence could have easily been set to Getting to Know You.
Getting to know you.
Would have been a little
I
too
bet-
on the nose, but fitting.
Yeah. Well, so a bunch of other songs in the movie. So I bet Nicolas Cage smooch is
What do
good.
you mean? You tell him Nicolas Cage smooch is good. Anyways, after an entire song worth of watching these two make out and get to know each other, we see them at the mall where Tommy spots them while strutting his stuff at the only place hunky dudes in the valley care to show off their goods. You guessed it. Hot dog on a stick. I do love that. That's where he's at too.
Yeah,
Why
those
is
nailed
that
it.
the
They're-
spot?
Because they're delicious.
I don't know.
Also, it's innuendo.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
touche. Back at school, Tommy asks Julie's friends where she's been, and they're like totally not sure where she's been the last week since she like doesn't have time for her friends anymore. They say this guy, Randy, is filling her head with air, which is hilarious coming from these three girls with the combined IQ of an ice cream machine. Tommy says this geek she's with could scar her for life. So the girls decide to talk some sense into her while they have a fun little slumber party in their panties dancing to that They've Got a Name for Girls Like Me song from the beginning of the movie. Something the three of us have done together countless times. The only difference is when we do this, there's a lot of ketchup and mustard involved. And it's in a Motel 6. And we don't get our security deposit back, FYI.
Another reference to another movie that nobody has ever
Another
seen or
Schrader
should
movie
ever see.
Another Schrader film nobody should ever watch.
Definitely.
Just see us in our panties spraying ketchup at each other.
Doing the
I feel a TikTok coming
platoon
on.
pose.
Yeah. Nigel doing the platoon pose. They talk about fun stuff like how totally tubular boys are, how hot they'd be in Susie's mom's lingerie, and make a pact to try out this new bulimia fad that's going around. You just like binge and purge.
Scarf and barf.
Totally how teen girls act and talk.
Yeah.
These
100%.
20-year-old teens.
Yeah, 20-year-old teens.
Julie's got crow's feet. I'm honestly shocked that she was like 20 years old when they filmed this because I thought she was closer to 30.
Yeah.
Really?
She
Yeah.
definitely looks older.
Julie's friends make fun of her for dating Randy and how he's like so uncivilized and junk. And they don't have parties in Hollywood. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you just got to find Rico, man. That Rico party's hard.
Shit.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't, Rico. Suddenly, Skip calls and his disappointed Susie answers rather than her mom. And even after getting invited to come over to hang out with 4 teenagers in their panties with no supervision, he's like, nah, and just hangs up.
I got a titty poster to look at instead.
Yeah.
That's true. One tit. She's got one tit out.
She's got one tit out. I counted that one tit, by the way.
Yeah. I saw that in
Awesome.
the stats.
Yeah.
The girls go back to talking about how grody the area is in Hollywood and how Julie will have to
Grody.
kiss all the
Grody.
Sorry.
Grody.
The girls talk about how grody the area is in Hollywood and how Julie will have to kiss all the bitchin' Valley guys goodbye if she stays with Randy. Oh, and how Hollywood guys have small penises and such. Hey, I didn't know I was born in Hollywood.
It's like this.
Yeah. It's a nice excuse.
I thought I was born in San Jose. I'd have to have a conversation with my parents now. Turns out all this rubs Julie the wrong way, and she seems to have doubts whether she should be a free-thinking human being who can choose whomever she wants to date or go back to being a valley girl. We see Skip ride his bike over to Susie's house, where he lets himself in order to get a little piece of stepmom action. He heads upstairs and finds a hottie in the shower, but as it turns out, the girl in the shower is Susie. Womp womp. Oh, wait, he's into her now. And they
Yeah.
make sweet love until they're interrupted by Susie's stepmom. I know this sounds like the setup to every other porn video on the internet these days, but this was original. You know, this is the first time something like this ever happened on film.
I don't think it
I couldn't
was.
tell the two of them apart. Like I was like, who is he actually? Who's in the shot? Like I think that's part of the joke. Like,
Yeah,
I guess
that's what they were going for. Yeah, it was like,
But I was
we're
like,
supposed to be seeing her with or him with the stepmom, but then it turns out it's Susie.
Yeah.
and it's like makes it even creepier. I think.
But I even had to rewind it because I was like, what? I thought Susie walked in on his stepmom. Like even after seeing, I can't tell them apart. I don't know.
you can
They're
see
also
the
indistinguishable.
pantsuit and the hair. It looks more like her stepmom when she first walks in.
Silhouetted when she comes in the front door. But
Felt
yeah,
like
they
with all
leave
these,
it.
all these Valley girls, it was like American Psycho, where you can't tell them apart.
yeah.
They're all interchangeable. And
Yeah, that's pretty true. But yeah, it's like
If only Patrick Bateman had showed up, gotten rid of some of these girls.
hey, Skip!
Huey. Yeah, Skip's just sitting there
You like
therming her in the
plastics?
shower, and he's like, "Hey, Skip!" Turns around, and gets axed.
Man, after watching Lord of War again, I love that scene exists so I can watch Jared Leto get killed over and over and over again with an axe.
At a diner, Julie asks Dottie whether she should get back with Tommy, the rapist, or stay with Randy, the guy who climbs into people's bathrooms windows and listens to people pee. Lauren says everybody thinks Tommy is so tubular and all, you know? So thankfully she chooses someone super intelligent to get advice from.
It's like totally tubular and all. She kind of like almost lets loose, you know, that he like kind of sort of raped her a little bit at the party, or, you know, at least was using her. Yeah, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
Because of course she doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like you said, she almost comes clean about Tommy taking advantage of her at the party, but can't seem to get the words out since, you know, she's brain dead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on that line because
oh no, it's good. It's like
totally
perfect.
forgot that was in there.
No, it's good. It's like perfect flow right into that. Julie then asks her dad for advice about the situation, saying that her vapid idiot friends all want her to be with Tommy and don't like Randy because he's different. He asks her what she really wants, and she says she wants to be with Randy. He shows her some pictures of him in his hippie days and says he dressed and acted differently than anybody else back then, and who cares how someone looks or acts. It's who you are that counts, what's inside you, and what you stand for. No one should tell you how to dress or who to be with. It's up to you to decide what's best for you, which is actually pretty solid advice, which I did not see coming from that guy, since every other scene he's in, he's like a bumbling idiot pervert.
I liked it. It was a solid dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really good. I like that they had that moment together and shows that, like, okay, so yeah, her parents might allow her a little extra freedom, but when it really comes down to it, they're trying their best to guide her with very strong principles.
Giving her great advice.
Yeah. Well, it cuts to Julie in bed, going to town on herself as she imagines Randy's wooden hand inside of her. Wait, no, sorry, wrong movie. We actually just watch her lay in bed, looking all around, and she comes to a decision.
Just laying there with a creepy clown doll. She's got this like creepy clown stuffed animal.
Yeah. And what did she know? The decision she makes is she picks Tommy, and that's how Act 2 ends.
So ridiculous. She gets this amazing advice from her dad, who's like very genuine and honest. And then she picks Tommy.
I actually found it kind of realistic.
Yeah.
Because he's telling her,
Peer
what do you
pressure.
want? And as a teenager, she wants to fit in with her friends.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
So that's what she decides to go with.
That peer pressure of fitting in and being accepted and being popular.
The entire conflict of this movie is only driven by the characters' stupid pressures on themselves, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Just you'd think it would be like
immaturity,
their parents like pressuring them to do something or trying them to keep them on the right path and stuff, but it's not. It's a typical teen thing where like everything is the worst thing ever, and it's all their own stupid interpretations of things.
Act 3. Time to resolve some shit.
At a diner, we see Julie sullenly eating a hamburger. Her Valley Girl nincompoop crew come in and scowl at her before she says this whole situation hasn't been fair since they won't hang out with her if she's with Randy. They let her know that Tommy still like totally loves her a bunch of junk, but is bummed to the max with her since she dumped him. On cue, Tommy walks into the diner, so her friends make an excuse to leave. Julie and Tommy make idle chit-chat until Julie tells Tommy she broke up with Randy. So he sits down and very politely asks her if this is what she really wants, and she says yes. He gives her back the bracelet she gave back to him when she dumped him at the beginning of the film, makes a date with her, and then eats like half her hamburger. You can tell she's really conflicted about getting back with this doofus, but does it anyway since that's the price of popularity in the Valley, I guess.
He looked like he was not enjoying that bite he had to take.
Maybe he's used to the health food stuff.
He's used-
eating burgers. That night, we see Randy pop by Julie's house where she gives him the cold shoulder and asks why he'd stop by without calling first. He's understandably confused as to why the girl who was madly in love with him up to this point in the movie is suddenly rejecting him, especially because it seems like she loves when he stalks her. So it seems weird that she would weirdly be weirded out by him showing up at her house in the middle of the night.
She's not used to him coming through the front door.
Yeah.
You're supposed to meet me in the bathroom.
Usually you climb through the window.
Anyway, he tells her that he loves her, and she breaks down and says that she can't see him anymore. So Randy quickly figures out what's going on and says, I know what this is. It's your fucking friends, right? Shit, Julie, what is this? It's between you and me, not between the rest of the fucking world, so fuck off. Which feels like the appropriate response, at least from my point of view.
Yeah.
Then he pushes it a bit too far and says, fuck you, fuck off for sure, like totally. And then he gets hammered in the parking lot of the club he loves to hang out at, which leads to one of the cagiest moments of the film. He stumbles to the door of the club, kicking cans while saying, I don't fucking care, I don't give a fuck, I don't fucking care, man, before pretending to hit the doorman while screaming, bam, and then laughing like a crazy person.
Yeah, I fucking care, man. And bam!
Inside, he hooks up with his ex-girlfriend in seconds flat, who is objectively way hotter than Julie, but I guess Randy doesn't like her as much since she's like, for sure has a totally grody personality or some junk. She suggests they make up, so they go bang in the girl's bathroom. We see Randy. Yeah. We see Randy leave the bathroom afterwards, and we can tell he regrets it immediately. Outside, he stumbles onto the road and almost gets into a fight with that same Mexican gang from Gone in 60 Seconds, I think. One guy chucks a lit cigarette at him, so Randy says, hey, fuck you, scum, get out of the car, which prompts the guy to say, are you all bad at me? And Randy says, yeah, I'm bad. Is that like Hollywood's tough guy version of the Valley Girl talk or something? Who knows?
Michael Jackson appears and starts dance fighting these guys.
I thought it was, are you mad at me? And he's like, yeah, I'm mad.
No, it's bad.
It's bad. I saw it in the subtitles. Are you bad at me?
Are you bad? Mm-hmm. Yeah, bad.
Maybe that was a thing.
Dialect lost to time. Immortalized by Michael Jackson, I suppose.
Yeah. Bad was a very 80s word.
Anyway, before this guy can bash Randy's head in, Fred, sorry, confused this with Gone in 60 Seconds again, comes back to Randy's rescue and pulls him into a nearby alleyway. Randy super fakely pukes in the alley while cussing out his friend.
I'm gonna be sick. Go on, leave me alone.
And Fred figures out quickly that Julie broke up with him. And then goes back to talking.
Yeah. Just like, it was almost like onto his own shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just come back talking. There's no puke or anything in his mouth. Randy tells Fred to maybe he needed to eat a cockroach and then he could have thrown up for real. Randy tells Fred to just bash his head in with a brick, but instead Fred tells Randy that if he wants this girl so bad, he should stalk her nonstop for the rest of the film, even though she clearly told him she doesn't want to see him anymore since girls love that kind of romantic stuff. Next, we see Julie happily get into a car with a friend and her friend's mom to head off to enjoy her new Randy-free life with Tommy, but Randy jumps into the back seat with her, like a murderer would. He tells her they have to talk, and she tells him to get out of the car since he's giving off some really creepy vibes, and his mom might go straight to the cops. Then we see Julie and Susie hanging out listening to the radio, and the announcer makes a dedication to Julie, his favorite Valley girl. Randy sends his undying love and says, come back soon,
Later, it gets really creepy after a while, man.
Yeah. Later at school, Julie is dressed like a 40s flapper girl combined with an old-timey detective or something. She finds some photo booth pictures of Randy stuffed into one of her school books, which opens up a can of worms as to how these pictures got there in the first place. We already know Randy isn't shy about crawling into people's houses through windows, so maybe he picked the lock on her locker and got into her stuff, or got into her house and left it.
Got into her house. I don't know.
Anyway.
Some creepy behavior here.
We see Julie heading to a movie theater on a date with Tommy, where Randy poses as an attendant checking tickets while sporting some 3D glasses and smoking a cigarette. And the people coming in are complaining that it's a 3D movie, which is it's nice to see that even back in the 80s, people hated 3D at the theaters. Gave them a headache. So this is just Randy, or this is just Jim from the Trust, where he goes and gets a bunch of odd jobs so you can blend in and then know exactly what Julie's doing at any one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pool boy and dropping towels off while Julie's hanging out, you know.
Spills
Serves
her
her dinner.
food afterwards. He does spit gum on a guy. So.
Yeah. So anyway, Julie sees him at the theater and it makes her laugh and smile at him. So I guess all this psychotic behavior is working. Tommy asks him if the movie they are going to see is in 3D, and Randy says, "No, but your face is," and then blows smoke in his face and tells him to have a nice flight. Next, we see Julie, Tommy, and their friends grabbing a hamburger at a drive-in restaurant, and Randy comes out in a goofy chef outfit with their food. He makes eyes at Julie for a sec before Tommy says he forgot their Coke, calls him a fish head, which prompts Randy to say,
Oh, well, Peter Piper picked a pepper. I guess I did. Oh, I'm sorry.
well, spitting his gum on Tommy.
In a weird accent, too.
I don't think
He's
the
trying to
gum
escape.
thing was intended. I think that was an accident, and they just
Spit it
went
out.
with it.
Yeah.
Because you could see Julie, Deborah Foreman, she like laughs
laughing,
hysterically when the gum comes out.
I'm not laughing, like legit.
Yeah.
Caught off guard laughing.
But the Nazi guy from Breaking Bad, he managed to stay in character so they could keep it.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if they were just like, just go do something goofy. And
Yeah.
that's what he did, too.
I was wondering, like, did he have to, like, because, okay, so we see him outside of the theater, so obviously the people inside the theater didn't know that he was there doing that.
Right.
And then in this one, I noticed that he, like, grabbed the food from the guy,
From the guy.
going to deliver it to him. So it makes sense. It's not like he just took jobs at these places.
Yeah.
I like the thing that he did. It was funny.
Yeah.
We see Julie half naked in bed, and I half expected Randy to be pretending to be the mattress she's sleeping on, but no, almost as bad. He's sleeping in her front yard in a sleeping bag, seemingly naked, with no pillow for some reason. Just laying on the lawn. Julie freaks out since there's a shirtless stalker in her yard and closes the shutters, but she smirks a little as Randy screams,
No, Julie, don't do that. Come on, Julie. Don't do this.
no red flags here whatsoever. Her hippie dad's probably just like, yeah, I remember I did that. That's how I got your mom.
That's how I got your mom.
He seems like a cool dude, man. He's like far out.
High in the Hollywood Hills, we see Randy and Fred looking over the San Fernando Valley, where Fred says, what you're doing ain't working, about all the creepy stalking stuff. So he says he has a plan to help Randy get Julie back. Then Randy pulls out a little orange box and blows into it for some reason, which makes a pathetic whistling noise. Quick fact, when Randy and Fred are in the hills overlooking the valley, Randy takes out a Wowie whistle from his shirt pocket. Wowie whistles were novelty harmonicas made from orange chewing wax and were popular Halloween treats during the 1970s and early 80s.
Who the hell even knew that was a thing?
I didn't.
It was so confusing in context. Like, what the fuck is happening right now?
It's a fun snack.
And then with
Yeah.
the quick fact, it's like, okay, it was like a quirky thing that teenagers did, but
Yeah.
Without knowing that, you're just
It'd be like
Right.
pulling out. It'd be like if somebody pulled out a fidget spinner and spun it in a movie that was made in 2017 with no context.
yeah.
And
40 years in the
later,
future.
someone's like, "What the fuck was that thing?"
Hell is that? Okay.
Which I guarantee you will happen.
Yeah, for sure. Like totally for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So are you supposed to eat chewing wax? Like, what the hell is chewing wax? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, like
This is like a kind of
wax
gum.
vampire lips.
I don't,
Yeah,
chew that
I'm
shit.
guessing it was some sort of. Let's see. Hold on. Chewing gum. Yeah.
All right.
It was gum. Yeah.
Orange wax harmonica with a Halloween themed label. Okay. That night, Tommy pulls up in a town car complete with a chauffeur at Julie's house, where her weird-ass parents continue to be weird. Her dad says Tommy is far out since he's wearing a pink suit and has a town car.
This kid doesn't miss a trick.
But he says he's super nervous, so he decides to go smoke some medicine in the bathroom before coming out with a camera. His wife said it made him aware of his mortality. I think it's just
Yeah.
the fact that his daughter's going to prom and he's having a midlife crisis because he's old, man. Some hijinks ensue as he forgets to take off the lens cap. Pop makes you so forgetful. And the whole time, Tommy looks impatient and seems to want to kill her dad.
Okay, let's get some snapperoos here.
Dad, Earth to Dad.
Imagine that, the old lens cap. Okay, here we go. No
Closer.
stopping us now. Get a little closer. Give us a big smile,
Smile,
Tommy.
come on.
That's it, buddy.
Closer.
He does get
Mom-
like more and more like kind of like he wants to punch his dad in the face for a minute there. Like no red flags on that side either. Julie really knows how to pick them.
Julie's
They gotta
got,
get to
yeah,
the prom,
she's got great
and they gotta get
great
to the
prospects.
Sheridan.
Yeah.
Just want to bang your daughter. Let's get this over with.
She's going out with Biff Tannen. It almost looked like the exact same place that the prom takes place in Back to the Future, too. Like the exterior shots of it looked very
It might have
similar.
been L.A.
Yeah.
man. They reuse
Yeah,
places
it
a
probably
lot.
Or I guess Back to the Future did it from this movie because this would have come out before Back to the Future. So,
Yeah, and Carrie did it before that. You know,
yeah.
same place.
Julie's mom rubs her dad weirdly and shakes him around for a bit, which I guess is their version of foreplay. And they decide to smoke out and bang or whatever.
I mean, how bad could it have been?
What?
How bad could it have been?
What?
Your prom. Hey, what is this, Bangkok? I don't need a massage.
Well, do you have any of that stuff for me?
Weirdest characters.
That like
Yeah, she was like rubbing him, like
shaking.
pushing him back and forth, and then
trying
like
to-
rubbing his shoulder really weirdly.
trying to tell him she's in the mood, but he's just like
Yeah.
too blitzed out to notice or something. But then he picks up on it, but then he's basically like, "Oh, let's go smoke pot." Or she's like, "You save any of that for me?"
You got to say it like a porn actress, though.
Yeah,
Did
that-
you save any of that for me?
You got any more of that?
This is how human wives interact. They
This is
Shake
how
their
a
husbands.
non-robot speaks. Yeah, it's so strange. That's the end of them in this movie, though.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Over at the prom, we see a band way too good to be performing at a high school prom, singing a song called "Johnny, Are You Queer?" Julie and Tommy arrive, followed closely by Fred and Randy. It's honestly getting creepy, guys. If this doesn't work out, I'm pretty sure Randy's going to turn Julie into a lampshade or something after he skins her corpse. It's running out of ideas.
I know it'll keep her around me all the time.
Turns out Fred's big plan was to just show up at the prom. I guess that's it. Randy's mad, but who can stay mad at Fred and his blue skunk streak through his hair and his voodoo chicken bone necklace or whatever? Yeah, he's like Warriors characters.
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood punks look like in the 80s, I guess.
Also, for some reason, there's like a 2-minute scene about trying to figure out where the cups are jammed in the middle of all this. And some guy's dumping 2 bottles full of alcohol in the punch, just wacky. Yeah, it was supposed to be
high school stuff.
They said, was it Susie that was bringing the cups or Julie, one of them, and she hadn't showed up yet?
Because she was banging Skip.
Yeah, that's right.
Still, I guess.
And so nobody had cups. Apparently, it's like a potluck prom where all the students bring something, which is really weird.
This all reminded me a lot of Grease for some reason, this prom.
Yeah. The cups eventually arrive when Susie shows up with Skip, the guy who wanted to bang her stepmom, but accidentally stumbled upon Susie in the shower, so he banged her instead. Remember that whole B plot?
Or
super important to the movie.
It cut away so fast. Maybe.
Yeah, mom joined in.
They all.
Maybe that's why it took a few days.
It would take me a few days.
That's why she's late with the cups.
Yeah. Fred spots Stacy, the girl he chased around the car, calling a little pickle earlier in the movie, sitting alone because her boyfriend is off Indian wrestling with the boys. I'm guessing her boyfriend is the Johnny from the song the prom band is singing about.
They did say that, Indian wrestling with the boys.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that like Turkish wrestling where they oil themselves up and grab each other's crotch and stuff?
Phrase I think has been lost to time. Fred, does she even have a boyfriend anywhere else in the movie? I can't remember.
No. I don't remember.
Aside from Fred.
There was one guy that, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but like there was a girl dancing. Maybe I'm thinking of the other girl that was in that group.
Dottie?
She's like dancing with... I forget his name, but she was dancing with somebody on the dance floor, and he keeps trying to we need to get out of here. Let's go. Because he wants to bang her too. Mm-hmm. We've been here 3 minutes. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Got to go to the Sheridan.
Fred and Randy decide to crush that fly, which I think is their version of saying, let's force these girls who aren't interested in us into being with us. So backstage, we see Tommy and Julie are about to get named prom king and queen, but Randy is there waiting for them. He and Tommy go round and round for a few minutes while some teacher gives an awkward long speech on stage about what it means to be king and queen of prom and how she wasn't the queen but really wanted to be.
I remember my prom. I wanted to be the queen. I wasn't.
I guess peaked in high school. It's been reflecting on her sad life ever since.
I think she was a loser in high school too.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be. Not that, being prom queen is the height of anything, but she was like, I was always jealous of those girls. Yeah. I wanted to be prom queen.
And now she gets to see them in perpetuity every year at the prom.
It's just a really awkward speech.
Yeah. It's another one of those moments of comedy that's just put into the movie that I liked because it just came out. It doesn't seem to matter for anything. It doesn't fit anything, but it's funny. Also, Randy tells Johnny, I'm going to give you a chance you never gave me, and then punches him in the face. But I don't understand what he meant because, he sucker punched him, and, Johnny sucker punched him earlier, so it's like he's doing the same thing to him. I don't really know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he means one-on-one. Yeah, that's what it probably is because he had Johnny's friends helped kick him out. I guess she didn't hear Tommy screaming loudly while karate kicking the air and only notices the fight when it spills out onto the stage, prompting the teacher to pass out for some reason. Randy knocks Tommy out, and I guess that's all it took to get Julie back because she finally relents and decides she actually does want to be with Randy. So, to recap, she broke up with him to be popular. He stalked her nonstop for weeks, even though she told him to go away. He shows up uninvited to ruin one of the most special days of her life and beats the shit out of the guy she chose to be with that worked to win her back. That's all it took.
Some lessons to be learned here. You know? Just stalk girls nonstop. That's how you get them back. If a girl breaks up with you, stalk her nonstop. Climb into her friend's mom's car. follow her everywhere she goes, sleep outside of her window. Girls love that shit.
Yeah.
Sneak into her house and plant pictures into her yearbook or whatever.
Make friends with her stoner dad. You know. Randy and Julie walk through the crowd as Johnny Are You Queer Band starts playing something again to provide the soundtrack to Julie throwing a plate full of Nickelodeon gack in Tommy's face, which leads to a food fight between everyone in the whole school. Yeah, you got to have a food fight in a teen comedy.
Yeah.
A high school comedy. Julie and Randy escape, and despite Tommy having paid for and arranged it, the chauffeur drives away with Randy and Julie in the town car. The driver, I saw that there was a goof that it's a different car than it was earlier in the morning.
Oh, is it?
Earlier in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, a different limo. Like one has a limo, one has a town car. So maybe they just got into a random limo and took off. The driver asks Randy where he wants to go. Again, I want to stress that he asks Randy, even though Tommy arranged this whole thing and had plans to take Julie to the Valley Sheridan to visit her valley, if you know what I mean. The driver asks Randy if he wants to go to the Sheridan, and he says yeah, which makes Julie Randy herself. She takes off the bracelet Tommy gave her yet again and tosses it out the window, and the two of them smirk in the car thinking about knocking boots in the room Tommy paid for, and thus ends the most romantic tale ever told in a shot that is like the closing of the Graduate when they're driving away on the bus. Yeah. The end.
A lot of Graduate references in this movie for some reason.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a perfect way. Yeah, that's it.
That's how it ends.
Like, side note, do you guys think it's creepy now being in our like 30s watching high school teen films where there's nudity? Like they're portraying these teenage kids naked.
No, because I fapped to this stuff all the time when I was a kid.
A little creepy, but then I realized like the actors were still in their 20s.
I get that. It's
Which
just
I
weird.
guess is still creepy.
It's just, I don't know. When I was younger, I didn't think of it because I was closer to the age. But now I was like, it's kind of weird that we're watching a movie about high school kids and they're like getting naked and getting railed.
Titties all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, the person that I identified with most in this movie was Julie's dad, so I guess that makes sense. Like, it's just, that's another sign of getting older.
Years younger.
I'd like tear into that because it's far out, man.
Remember when you looked like that? Huh?
Remember when you looked like her? God, I want to bang my daughter.
Remember when you were as hot as our daughter?
All right.
Okay, maybe I don't identify with him that much.